Okay,
So,
there we go.
so
Okay, thank
all
you.
right.
Okay, Axel, go ahead.
This is the remix, I guess. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about a couple of capital improvement projects that are either underway, will be underway, or are in different phases of finishing. We introduced a motion about a month and a half ago, right before the recess, and it was for Olympics-related infrastructure that we're just trying to make sure stays on a tight timeline. So there's been a lot of questions in the community about the Cabrillo Beach Youth Waterfront Sports Center, aka the old Scout Center, and the Harbor Boulevard medians, which I know is important to this group. So we've asked for a report back on timeline and budget. But moving forward, one of the ones that's really starting to pick up steam is the median project on Harbor Boulevard. So that's a PAIP funded project for this last cycle. And we're going to be working obviously very closely with Elise and the chamber, and other community stakeholders, which will work to recruit to put a small group together, a community advisory group, basically to help us look at design options and what we want to see in terms of the treatments for the entryway from the SR 47, that entry gateway onto from the bridge, typically from the bridge onto Harbor Boulevard. So that includes the medians. And obviously, we'll have updates for this body as we get closer, but we're looking at our initial meetings probably the next 3 to 4 weeks. And with the end date of that project no later than March of 2028. So a little bit of a buffer between the games starting. Next, this one is a little bit more port related, but it does affect the neighborhood, or it has in the past. So WBCT, the terminal there at the elbow near John S. Gibson, at times has a call for empties that takes place. So you'll notice there's like a large queue of trucks that are coming out of the terminal, sometimes all the way up to the bridge. And so we've been working with our partners at WBCT and POLA to look at kind of creative options, especially with the bridge closure coming very soon, to make sure that we have enough capacity for trucks to turn in to that terminal. And so WBCT has done their piece. They've actually restriped the interior of that terminal with an additional lane to add queuing space for about 60 trucks. We're trying to do the same on the outside. It may take a little bit more time, but our deadline is obviously November 1st. And so that hopes to add about 100 extra queuing spaces, like on the left turn lane for people to get into the terminal, drivers to get into the terminal. So that'll help alleviate traffic on those busy days, but also in case of an emergency, provides an extra lane of traffic for folks to exit the community if they need to. Next, West Harbor. So I know folks, I saw a lot of you at the FIFA fan zones, which took place last week. It was a major success, and it was a first kind of sneak peek at the project. My updates for the project is we're currently working. We just wrapped up plan check for 7 of the 8 tenants that are coming into West Harbor. So 7 of the 8 already have their LADBS permits and are constructing out their spaces. There's one left that we're working on that'll take a little bit longer, but we're doing good on that end, and we're working on the building permits for the concessions building and the amphitheater. So those are kind of what we're in the middle of now. But we're working on a pretty aggressive schedule and hoping to finish the entire project in the next couple of months. Small business updates. This will be my last one, and then I'll open it up for questions since I know it's a lot of information. So helped 2 small businesses that are on the up and up or getting ready to open their doors, and that's Svignoli and Noga, both off of 7th Street, one on Mesa. We wrapped up LADBS plan check about a month and a half ago on each one of those, and both of them I'm happy to say, are in the middle of inspections to finalize, and so we're going to see some grand openings hopefully very soon. And that's it. There's a lot more going on, obviously, but I want to eat up the entire meeting. So if you have questions, please feel free to raise your hand and let me know.
Questions for Axel? Anything City of LA planning port related? Wow. No questions for you, Axel.
Shocked.
Are you going to Caltrans?
Yeah, I'm gonna. I can stay on for a few minutes if you need me, but
Okay.
then I am gonna jump over to the CAC meeting over there in a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, no questions for Axel. Moving on to, I guess there's no rep from.
I don't see Brian. No.
Okay, then moving to item number 5, projects of interest. To be sure of the fact we have a lot of interest in, I guess, 5J. Would that be correct?
We do, but we do have the developer of the John Gibson chassis project parking lot here with us tonight. If we wanted to take that first, Lamar, and since Mike is on the line, if there are any questions, or Axel, any updates from the council office on the status?
Moving accordingly, John Gibson, Mike, on you.
Hello, everyone. I'm here to answer any questions that you have tonight. I just saw that we were on the agenda and just wanted to offer myself up for any information or any questions that you might have on the latest and greatest with the project.
Okay. Axel, did you have any updates on the parking lot project from your work?
Yeah, just minor ones. So, I mean, and thanks to Mike for being on, we've been working with a couple of the stakeholders that had expressed some opposition. Obviously, everyone's aware we had 245, the original decision, and it wasn't meant to be it wasn't meant to be a super unfriendly 245. It was meant to give us some time to work with stakeholders to see if we could find a middle ground. And so, just so you know, you'll be getting some news probably in the next week or so on a resolution on that one.
Okay. All right.
As everyone knows, there's some controversy behind this project, and we have supporters and opposition. Central was fortunate to have the president of Wilmington participate in our meeting, and she shared with us her concerns as relates to the project itself. It had to do with pollution, it had to do with traffic, and also had to do with the, integrity of Wilmington. To that end, on the reverse side, clearly have support from the varying parties in terms of the project itself. So I would like to open that up discussion from other neighborhood councils in regards to any comments as it relates to Central. We pretty much still are kind of on the fence in regards to whether we're supporting or opposing it. So that's where Central is at.
So maybe Axel can give a status report because it went through Harbor Area Planning Commissioner. Walk us through the steps. No, I'm sorry. It went through Harbor Commission, through the port. It was approved by the Board of Harbor Commissioners. And then the councilman called, and maybe Axel, you can just say what a 245 is, what the council member did, the action that after the Board of Harbor Commissioners approved the project.
Cool.
Oh, did we lose you, Axel? I think we lost him.
Well, it's,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Allen.
A 245, for those that don't know, is when the city council pulls an item from any commission and says, whatever decision you made is not what the final decision is. Instead, what Tim did is what any smart councilman can do when there's controversy that is being ignored within the community. Three of the Harbor Area neighborhood councils have previously opined on this project and are against it.
Mr. Allen, can you speak to the 245?
The 245.
Can you guys hear me? I know
Now we can hear you.
Sorry. So yeah, as I was saying, the 245 is a council rule which allows us to basically bounce the decision back to the body that made it. So we're able to bounce the decision back to the Board of Harbor Commissioners to reconsider. This time around, we did do that to buy some time and get a chance to negotiate between the developer and Wilmington Neighborhood Council and other stakeholders who were, in opposition to the project to see if we can find some middle ground. So that's where it is. It's likely, it's scheduled to go back, or it will be scheduled to go back probably in the following weeks back to Board of Harbor Commissioners to be reconsidered. But we're making some progress between now and then.
Axel, will this committee or the neighborhood councils see the compromise position before it goes back to the commission?
Yeah, you'll get information on what's been agreed upon or hasn't been agreed upon, because it's not guaranteed that the parties are going to agree. But you'll get a status update, is what, if you're asking if you're going to get a status update before it's scheduled, yes, you will.
Thank you.
Any other questions about 245? In summary form, like I said, there's two sides. The opposition mainly is coming from the Wilmington Neighborhood Council. It has to do air pollution, traffic, environmental, and impact on schools. And the support speaks for itself in regards to the port staff is in support, our industrial partners in support, many communities in support. That is in a nutshell. I believe that Northwest and Coastal is taking a position. Is that true? As it relates to Coastal taking a position on this?
Yes.
Northwest
And Harbor City.
Harbor City.
I'm sorry, Harbor City. And you also have
Northwest has not taken an official position at this moment yet.
okay, good enough. Moving on. And I believe that there's a lot of interest as it relates to I.
Yeah.
No, is it I or is it
It's I.
It's Evergreen Recycling Center.
Yes. Right now, it's my impression that there have not been any permits or anything pulled on this project. It's still in the conceptual stage, but clearly we have some opinions as it relates to the importance. I would like to also remind those that we have a 2-minute limitation per person. I'm not sure how many people want to speak to this. Make it, you want to raise your hand? How many people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8.
How many people have seen the presentation? I'm just curious. Okay, yes, but the others, okay. All right, I was just curious.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
If somebody's going to speak and if the next person's going to say the exact same thing, maybe they pass.
How many hands were raised on that, Elise?
Can you raise your hands again if you have seen the presentation provided by Dave Ornston? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of us, and Robin 11.
Thank you.
To that end, what I would like to do is start on the back row and work around.
My name is John Hilbert, and I'm a teacher at Dayton Middle School. My general concern is in the proximity of where this is proposed. There are 3 schools. The pollution, environmental aspects and concerns, already the traffic, from both New York High School to King Street and Dana would all be greatly impacted by this. And so, if it's, they need a recycling center, maybe you put it on the other side of town where the old one used to be back in the 80s and 90s, over by where the drains is, right below that.
Gentlemen, green, no comment. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so my name's Stephanie Coughlin. I'm a local realtor, and I didn't hear his presentation, but he was commenting at the coastal San Pedro Neighborhood Council. So I got to speak to him after the meeting too. He informed us that he's a commercial real estate broker, and he felt, and I brought up to him that our concerns are safety, well, and whatever, all the things you said, plus the price of real estate, the businesses around there, and everything that will be subject to the fallout from this type of quasi-industrial facility that does have fallout no matter what. And he failed to understand that there would be that type of consequence for this type of place in a residential plus a small business type of area that will be heavily impacted by a facility like that. So he asked me to bring him proof. I did a simple search online. The proof's all there for housing, real estate prices, businesses consequentially getting all types of different crimes and different types of people coming in that don't spend money. And you're going to lose those types of businesses on that street. Also, he said that they are proposing to give the city or the county 1%, which I think is absolutely laughable. I mean, that's chump change. And let's, and we don't want it anyway. The aesthetics are not good for Gaffey, period. We're trying to elevate our city. That is not going to do it. So I'm a hard no on that.
Thank you.
I'm Julie Edelson, and I live in the coastal area.
I'm totally against this. I mean, my first question would be, why? Why do we need this? It's so absurd, but also why would you put it on Gappy? Makes no sense. I don't think of all the things that we need here. That would be the last thing I could ever possibly think of. And you know what's it's gonna be used for. Well, one, private profit at the expense of our environment and our world, but everybody who's stealing copper go right there and cash it in. I mean, why do we want the crime hub to be on Gaffney? I just think it's crazy. Thank you.
Mona,
CIB.
I'm sorry. Were you going to speak?
Oh, yes. My public comment on this is that I am absolutely a huge proponent of recycling. But I'm also equally adamant and feel that the greatest importance of any community is to be ensured of public safety. If we don't have public safety, and unfortunately, even with this terrific model of what is being proposed, there's absolutely no guarantee. So I'm hoping that all board members from, as well as committee members from all three, hear the voices of the community as they can continue to come out and be heard on their concerns. I know that we got a brief presentation Monday night, little less than 10 minutes of an explanation of the idea. I have seen the presentation. I think it's an amazing concept, and it's a concept of the future. I think it's misplaced, and I believe, and I have made the suggestion to the potential operator that he please finds a different location, and that he really vehemently listens to the community and their needs as well. It's of the greatest of importance. I've spent a lifetime of what I think is a lifetime of public safety efforts to see to it that our business district and our neighborhoods are safe. And this is a difficult one.
Mona, aren't you on the zoning commission?
Mr. Allen.
Aren't you on the zoning commission?
I'm a Harbor Area Planning Commissioner.
Planning Commission. Is this property even zoned for industrial use?
Yeah, I don't know, James.
We're in public comment right now.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my comment. So thank you.
Okay. I'm Peggy Lindquist and one of the former owners of the corner store. And I'm against having it on Gaffey. And I'll tell you, my husband and I, we had over 300 varieties of glass bottled sodas at the corner store, and we recycled all of those containers. My husband did. And the recycle yards that we go to are very dirty. They're sticky. They have you put everything in big wire baskets. Now this project is different in that it's a machine, but when people are recycling and they're taking bottled sodas and putting them into the machine, the dripping from the bottles is going to be on the machine, it's going to be on the floor, and that is loaded with sugar, and sugar attracts cockroaches, rats, and all other type of vermin. It smells. His presentation showed that this was a $250,000, very beautiful, shiny machine. And he said that it doesn't leak and it doesn't emit odors. And I say BS, because it's going to have liquid around where they load the bottles in, and there's no way that you could contain that smell. So I am vehemently against it for those reasons, as well as the fact that it's going to make Gaffey, like you said, it's not going to elevate Gaffey. It's, if anything, it's going to do just the opposite. So I'm against it.
Thank you.
My name's Elaine Markoulis. I'm born and raised in San Pedro, and because Prop 19 was forced to move back to San Pedro when my dad passed away in March of last year. I am opposed to it. Traffic alone right there going down Gaffey. It's bad enough as it is going down Gaffey. So the traffic alone, right there, I'm against it. And I'm against it because it will bring in people that are going to be recycling or stealing recyclable things to put there for drug money. And so I am strongly opposed to this going in there.
Thank you.
Because he's not a panelist, but I'll get you.
Oh, she was the council.
Hi, I'm also opposed to this recycling plants. I haven't seen a presentation, but I do recycle, our bottles and cans and stuff, and we go to the one in Alameda, and I forget the cross street, but like somebody else mentioned, it's just really gross, and you don't walk that around our town. We're already struggling with being it clean, and I don't think it's a good idea.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Daniel Ryan, I'm also opposed to the project. I live in Point Fermin, a little further up Gaffey Street. I would just reiterate what others have said. Concerned about the harbors and pests and traffic, not just car traffic, but ultimately they're generating probably truckload volumes to have to go somewhere. And it's halfway to the end of the earth. People are just going to be clogging that area up in both directions. So there's a dumping going on in that area of San Pedro roughly, whether it's wastewater or DDT. I would recommend against this. So the power of the houses. There you go.
Any other non-council members who want to comment?
So would you like me to go online to the
Yes.
people too? Okay, everybody just be patient with me, okay? All right, James Campo, did you want to make a statement?
Yes, can you hear me?
Can hear you, yes.
Hi, everybody. Yes, James Campo here. I attended the coastal meeting, San Pedro Neighborhood Council Coastal on Monday and the community came out very well and persuaded the board to change their vote of approval on proposal. So it failed, and for the same reasons that I've heard tonight. Thank you, everyone, for speaking. The owner or a fellow there, Dave, he says they're going to accept all trash so that nothing will go out. So as opposed, and to talk about stench, everything else that's going to be sitting there, and they said they might pick that up twice a week or something. I don't think it adds anything to the commerce or business of San Pedro. And located next to a liquor store, come on, So it's going to add to more pilfering through the neighborhoods from people that supposedly
Take
need.
all our bottles.
Sorry?
Oh, sorry, James, I'm sorry.
Okay, so I support the not allowing this project to go forward, perhaps in an industrial area, yes, but Gaffey and 17th was totally the wrong location for it. And
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, James. Okay, Cheryl Ackenblue. Whoa, there's Cheryl. There's she. Whoa. Okay, Cheryl.
Good evening. I'm a giant supporter of this project. I know I'm bucking the tide. However, I'm very sick of having to drive to those icky, sticky locations out in Lomita and Harbor City and so forth and so on. As someone with a broken ankle who doesn't really want to have to hobble very far, my understanding, I missed Monday's presentation because I have a broken ankle. And my understanding from what I heard here last month was that they were going to have, the machine, you can just hand over your bag and it'll sort it all for you. You don't have to do that individual shoving those sticky, icky things. I'm weird. I rinse all my recycling, but I understand not everyone does. by the way, traffic, people clearly not using recycling centers, because if you did, you would know that there are barely more than a half a dozen people there tops at any one time. I do understand about the smell and the trash. I don't see any magic solution for that. However, I really support this. I just don't see, I mean, nothing's perfect, but I really do support this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cheryl. Okay, I am now, let's see, Gwen. Whoops, what did I just do? Uh-oh, allowed to talk. Okay, Gwen. Go for it.
Hi, all. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So I happen to be a resident of what used to be the recycling area over at First and Bandini, literally just a few doors down uh, on the strip of road going up to Holy Trinity. Um, and I have to honestly say that well, my father was very much into recycling back in the 70s and 80s and actually started a company to go to different corporations up and down Olympic Boulevard to gather their paper. He was the one that went to the larger recycling areas. I've been a lifetime fan of recycling of all types. And I think that San Pedro should be, especially with the upcoming Olympics, thinking about a more uh, uh, holistic idea of getting locations for people to drop off their drink bottles and things like that all through the city, and getting the restaurants and areas to be on board with just like the corner store, fantastic with their bottles. Um, I am not so much a proponent of a location where people gather their stuff and bring it there because First and Bandini, we had people who were actually competing on our streets in a circumference in a circle around the recycling center for our own recycling. I'm still in the habit of waking up at 5 in the morning to put my recycling out because of this. We still have a couple of people who know our recycling schedules, the trash days, and so we have a truck that still comes by, the same one from those old days, and we also have another individual who still, goes to the city bins that we put out. I believe I still hope that the city can make some money off of our stuff. But lastly, we had many people who lived right there on Bandini and on the end of Santa Cruz that is close to the adult school. They were living there permanently, and it was basically because of the attractant of this recycling center.
Okay, thank you, Gwen. I'm sorry you're past time.
You're welcome.
And
Thank
so,
you.
thank you, Gwen. Now we're going to go to Chris Balanek. Okay, Chris.
They're just unmuted. So I am very adamantly against this. I'm a San Pedro stakeholder. I'm a resident of Central. I've spent over a dozen years very visibly working in public safety on street level. I'm a huge proponent of recycling. I have recycled my entire time as a homeowner. I drive as far as Torrance, where they have a facility up near a Target up there. I don't think this belongs on that part of Gaffey. I think that part of Gaffey is not as wide for traffic. I think that between the auto traffic and the foot traffic, it's going to be a problem. I think that traditionally in town, there have been a couple of other recycling facilities that have been unmitigated
I've never
disasters.
been so happy in my life to eat burritos.
Like the one at, yeah. Like the one at First and Bandini.
There.
The one at First and Bandini was an unmitigated disaster, even though it was in a large parking lot adjacent to a supermarket, specifically because of a couple of things. Number one is this is incentivizing street vagrancy. This is one of three ways that they make money in addition to trafficking in drugs and trafficking in stolen property, is that they traffic in recyclables. Rancho, let's say it plainly, Rancho San Pedro gang had claimed that area for recycling, and committed physical assaults and robberies of people with bottles over there. And that area, that footprint was a disgusting mess between the cockroaches and the rats and the flies and the ants. I do not have faith in this specific vendor. I don't think that they have been respectful of the community in their dialogue with us. I think they've tried to shoot us down, and it just, to me, smacks of snake oil and very few actual pragmatic solutions to the issues that we've raised very clearly with having this recycling center here. I'd love to see it in the very much more commercial part of town in a bigger footprint, but I don't think it should be. And I measured today, it's within 50 feet of residential houses. I think it's wholly inappropriate and will become a nexus for street transients, much like the library has, much like most smoke shops in town have, much like most 7-Elevens in town have. I think this is a no-go. It's a non-starter in that area, and it's going to be a disaster for town.
Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate you. Okay, next I see Lee Williams, hand up. Lee?
Hi there. I live near the old CRV recycling center on First and Bandini, and that was a disaster. We don't need a sticky, icky recycling center here in town, especially not in commercial corridors. And people, like Gwen said, people do go through my garbage every Tuesday and look for my recyclables. And I think that it's odd because that is stuff that would have gone to the city, and the CRV would have been kept by our municipalities, and there would be no expense. So they're actually robbing our community by recycling things that were already going to be recycled for free. And so I hope that you vote to oppose this. Thank you.
So Lee, just for clarification, there's no action occurring tonight.
Okay.
We appreciate everybody's comments, but we are not agendized for action, but appreciate
Excellent.
everybody.
I appreciate the clarification.
Thank you. Okay, now I think, has everybody been allowed to comment that wants to comment? Wow, we did it. Back to you, Leroy.
Can I make just one closing statement here?
Mr. Harris, part of public comment.
Yeah. One, I doubt that this piece of property is zoned for industrial use. And two, when it was brought up about cities' own contract or their own service for collecting recyclables, that is true for both residential and commercial buildings. I pay to have Athens, which is the local contractor, and they provide recycling service. So it's not in the right place. And B, I don't think that they're going to make a whole lot of money on it in the first place. So doesn't make sense.
Any more public comment?
I think we got through that.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment. I'm an avid recycler too, and actually I live close to where Gwendolyn lives and also where Lee lives, and I used to use that the parking lot there where the market was at that time. And it was very convenient, and I didn't find it too dirty or too trashy or a lot of criminals or these other things that I've heard tonight. I call them a parade of imagined horribles. That we seem to place on certain things in the community, like we saw with Fred Brown and other attempts to move certain things to perhaps help the community, from taking place. But I guess it's sort of like NIMBY modified. It's okay, but it's just as long as it's not near me, right? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Yeah.
Right on. Any other comments? Okay, I guess switching over to council members, starting with Northwest.
What, aren't you going to finish the rest of the update item?
I'm dealing with the.
No, he's still on that.
Dealing with the.
Oh, you're voting on it?
No. He's just asking if any of the committee members have any comment.
None here, Thomas.
Okay. Not seen any online, Lamar?
Okay, none from Central, Coastal, okay.
I have a quick comment. Just for the public members who are here, as I understand it, the business owner hasn't applied for a permit yet.
No, he's
So-
doing his outreach.
Yeah, so it's not even in the permitting stage. So it's a long way to go.
He's investigating locations and doing outreach on priority sites.
Isn't that the right thing to do?
Yeah, no, that's what he's doing, and that's why I feel so bad about the comments about him, is because he's doing what we want developers to do, which is if they have a project cited in the community, that they do outreach and take community input. So that was his mission that he was on, and I don't know, I don't know. I mean, that's what we want everybody to do.
Just to finish my comment, so I do think that the presentations that I've, had been able to have with him, I found him to be pretty adversarial to criticism, unfortunately. So,
And condescending.
Yeah, could I?
Council.
No.
Oh, that, just that, when you say he's doing community outreach, his community outreach that he's done so far has been condescending, adversarial. I mean, he's been argumentative. I don't think he's asking or outreaching into the community. I think he's doing himself a disservice.
During this presentation, they said that they had 2 or 3 facilities already operating in Simi Valley. Has anyone had the opportunity to visit these facilities?
I'm going out in the next month. The chamber has not taken a position. He's coming in August to present the project. So I'm going to drive out to Simi Valley. The owner of may I just interject? So the owner of the property, the commercial center, she was very concerned about a lot of the issues that were raised tonight. She herself went out to Simi Valley and toured the different sites. And that's when she said, love to lease to you, go out and do outreach. So she was comfortable with what she saw. So I want to go see what she saw in Simi Valley.
Thank you.
Well, I'm wondering, Simi Valley, I used to work out there, although it was a lifetime ago. It was not, I doubt that today it has the amount of homeless or unhoused people that we do. So I don't know that it's a fair comparison.
I just want to see the operation. I'm not I hear what everybody is saying, but I want to see the actual operation. Yeah.
So what really bothered me at the coastal presentation at the land committee meeting, where it was a lengthy proposal, was that he's diminishing the value of our blue bins. Now, we do have the blue bins for a purpose, and he had quite a bit to say about that. And I was asking a lot of questions as usual, and we got to the point where he said, by using your blue bin, you are encouraging the scavengers. You are doing a disservice to your community. So I was so shocked by that I quizzed him again. I quizzed him because it was a declarative statement, because he knew I was concerned. We have blue bins. Why are we not supporting the blue bins? So he doubled down on it, which really shocked me, because he should have read the room that this was not something he should be saying. So that disturbs me. And I think we have very much danced around. Is this going to be, how many more of the unhoused or people who need this extra cash to survive day by day? How many more are they going to be encouraged to then raid more trash cans? And some of them are very neat. They go through your stuff. They're neat. But others, as you see on the main streets, the trash cans are dumped and the trash bags are ripped open. So that's my concern. I do love the idea that he's investing in our community, and taking away a vacant spot. But I think that he should be in a little more industrial zone personally.
Any other comments from committee members? Okay, moving the agenda.
Okay, thank you, everyone. I've got your notes.
I would like to skip B and go straight to C. It's my understanding that is DOA.
You could say it nicer.
Item C. Item C.
Yes, talk about Fred Brown. It's my understanding it's there. Any other received that information? Is it assessment information?
Yeah,
The
they
state
had
has
their grant.
rescinded the grant,
Correct.
and that is not appealable.
Yeah.
I think that's distinguishable from the maybe raise cash, but it's my impression speaking to a rep from Fred Brown, they're done.
For that site, they're done.
Yeah. Okay. Item B, this is an extension from the last agenda that Robin did, and so I just include this as a continuation. I have no information on 5 points, other than the fact that I think this was the 5th or 6th month that they've been involved in the EIR. So I think it's probably timely to bring them back to the table in order to get a feel for where they're at least that's my thinking, that's my suggestion.
And Lamar, they would welcome the opportunity to come back and provide an update. They stopped by the other day. So would you like me to help schedule that?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, moving on.
I wanted to jump in on that. I've got my hand up.
Oh, sorry, Ron.
Yep, no problem. So I'd like to be part of that too. I promised Diana that I would help, with the Phillips 66, and for those who weren't familiar, I think around April, May, the last thing kind of a group was really concerned about, to reiterate, is hoping that their plans meaningfully evaluate housing alternatives. That was the main area where I don't think we're listening to the public input they'd received in the meetings I was at. Fully analyzing traffic. I think, they're working on that. We hear that for all these projects. Stronger employment community vision. So I'd definitely like to hear an input on that, and just making sure that there's always adequate time for public review, allowing, our regional planning, land use groups to take time to make a decision, get those to our actual voting boards, the stakeholder groups. So that's kind of the context. So Elise would definitely like to be in touch, and then wanted to share with this group. I'm also reaching out to Pamela, and I'm going to request on at least a quarterly basis. It's great to have Axel here, but Pamela is really driving this in McCosker's office. So I'm going to try to meet with her for Northwest on probably a 2-week to monthly scheduled one-on-one, try to get a cadence, and then ask her to be more available to this group. So just wanted to disclose and share that when we got to this part of the agenda. Thank you.
Any other comments on Phillips 66?
Lamar?
Yes.
Is it possible, if we have a report, to have it done not by the proponents developing the site, but by whoever, if there is an EIR underway, to have the agents or the agency conducting the EIRs balance?
We think we can coordinate bringing the plan.
Yeah, I will talk to Rafa about that. I know we did talk about them bringing some experts in, but I didn't ask that specific question. So I will ask that.
Mr. Allen.
Looking at the overall agenda and Phillips 66 in particular, it comes to my mind that the San Pedro and Wilmington Community Plan has not been updated in well over a decade. And the problem that we're facing as a community, both communities, because we are connected to Wilmington economically, is that there is land development is an economic development issue. And we have to be talking about what the community wants to see in terms of job creation and commerce versus traffic and pollution. And addressing each of these things individually, we're making the same mistake that the Port of Los Angeles makes with its planning process, is that they don't look at the cumulative effect of all of the individual decisions that they make and how that mounts up in terms of both pollution, traffic, and other types of stuff. I urge that this committee ask for and get from the city planning department the updated community plans. And that the Wilmington and San Pedro community plans and Harbor City, if there is one for them, is one plan. Because there isn't any border between us and our neighbors.
Thank you, Michelle. Any other comments on clip 66? I think one important element is the fact that the housing issue may not be on the table because of level of contamination of that land, the amount of money that would be involved in order to bring it up to speed. Also, I believe Phyllis is concerned about future liability.
What about across the street?
Which one?
Across the street on Anaheim, there's no contamination there.
I agree. I think that's in play, but they want I think that's a buy-off in terms for buy-off imaging.
Can I add something to your point? I live close to the Sister City Flag Park, and there was a Shell gas station there for years. It was until maybe 6 months ago that they were still testing the ground to make sure that it was safe and clean. How many years has that Shell gas station been gone?
How many?
It's been probably close to 20 years. It's been gone. And just about 6 months ago, did they finally stop testing the ground there?
Which property?
Where the Sister City Flag Park is, as you get onto the freeway.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I can't conceivably see them cleaning Phillips 76 in our lifetime.
Yeah. There is, if I may, there is the state toxics land website, and anybody can go on there and see the number of toxic sites that the state of California knows about and at times tests. And that is not just oil refineries, it's also laundries, cleaners and things like that. This property that you're talking about on 16th might be a toxic site for all we know. Yeah, because it was clean.
I think the other key is that I'm trying to think it's DACA and the main presenter, but my thing is certain questions should be directed to the master developer, and that is in CALUS, CALLUS.
Talus DECA.
And I think they should be brought to the table because my impression is that they are the primary drivers when it comes to actually developing that land. It's just something for us to consider. Any other comments on Code 66? Of course, the action will be I'll be working with Elise, Thomas, and also Robin in order to corral the developers and also potentially planning as well.
Okay.
Moving on to West Harbor opening.
Lamar, I just one more comment on that Phillips 66. I just wanted to associate myself with the comments of James Allen and in terms of how important it is to look at the cumulative impacts and the communities all together, and their community plan, the community plan areas put together. And so I'll keep that in mind as this thing slowly crawls forward. I think we should all be saying that. Thank you.
That works. Any other comments on Code 66?
A request for Elise and Lamar and Thomas up there to keep me in the loop on the meetings with that.
So when they stopped in, they said they'd love to come back and present to this body. So that's what I was going to proceed with. Thomas was getting them scheduled at one of our joint land use. And then I know there were other meetings occurring, but that was kind of my thought, was to get them back here and ask them to bring the experts in that have been asked for. I know they've had 2, I think, water board meetings, public meetings to discuss water. So, okay, we'll do.
Okay, moving on to D, West Harbor opening. This is a continuation from the prior agenda that was put together by Robin. The only thing I can think of is the fact that the project is not going to be open. There's portions that are clearly front and center because of the World Cup. I think there was a lot of positive publicity that came out of that for West Harbor. And also the construction continued for the restaurants, retail spaces, the Ferris wheel and the promenade. I'm sorry, the amphitheater. And I heard a comment to the effect that, yes.
When you're ready for questions.
Go for it.
I stand by my statement that I'm upset that they chose to use environmentally unfriendly artificial turf. And April just confirmed what I've been trying. I didn't go down to fan zone. Okay. And I'm very happy for what West Harbor can bring to our community. Okay. But she confirmed that you will get a burnt tush if you sit down on artificial turf on a hot day. I'm just is still disappointed that they wouldn't listen. And the arguments that they had were that artificial turf was a lesser of an evil than using real grass. They still claimed because of a water shortage and you need to hose down artificial turf or you would get your tush burnt. You have to clean it. It is just really, there's particles going in the air that we're breathing in, our fish are breathing in. It's just bad, bad, bad. And I hate that decisions are made on capitalism. What will, be cheaper for them will make more money. They have to be responsible. They're not listening. The port does not listen to the community on many issues. And the Scout Center is another one. They didn't listen to the community. They only cared about making a buck.
This is what's hard.
Okay.
But the port is very involved with West Harbor. Okay. And I presented a long time ago to Alan Johnson a lot of reports, and Coastal had a great report. Climate Emergency Mobilization had a report. They're still pending a council file since November of 2024, asking them to ban the use of artificial turf in the entire city of Los Angeles. Doesn't seem like it's going to move forward. If that ban would have gone into effect, they would not have been allowed to use this. So just, and they also put palm trees in there, which are just, I think most of you already know why palm trees are bad. I won't even go into it, so.
Do you want me to call Mr. Campa?
Yes, please.
Okay. James, did you have a question or comment?
Comment, just a point of information. Neighbors were going, what is that sound? What's going on? Neighbors and I live out near 33rd and Peck. So I, of course, got some nose trouble. So I drove down there and I saw a stage facing which will probably be in the same direction as the open air theater, which I prefer to call it, not the amphitheater. So, and it wasn't a band, it was just a DJ doing music intermittently with this, big screen of people watching. So just wanted to put it out there that the Point Fermin area was hearing it, and I was taking a swim out in the ocean, on the outer ocean, and I was hearing thump, 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 thump out at the Polar Bear buoy. So there you go. Thank you.
Any other comments from, I think I see two other hands.
Oh. Let me just go back and forth. Am I missing?
No, there's no more.
I don't think I saw more.
Okay. Yeah, I have a comment. I had a good time. It was really cool to see West Harbor open and see what's come to fruition so far, but I really hope that they continue to do some outreach, maybe get some feedback from the community, because the artificial turf was a few comments that I heard from people personally, as well as no shade whatsoever, direct heat. Even the VIP zone barely had shade, and I'm not suggesting to plant trees, but you could even bring trees in like a big pot.
You didn't get palm tree shade?
So it was just, so that's, I guess, my comment. I would just want to hear that West Harbor is continuing to do the community outreach, because they're not done. So, they could work with the community to maybe solve these problems. No.
Could I ask to move the agenda up to the bridge?
We're not sure we're done. Are we done with this?
No.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I see no other hands online, Lamar.
Okay, no other comments? I can make a suggestion for someone from West Point to come to us to give us an update on their.
No, they don't care.
Okay,
We could ask.
moving on to the Port of LA. As you know, the port has become the business container port in the whole US, increased cargo traffic, and this benefits economically are kind of neutralized because of the major pollution concerns, water, air, greenhouse, you name it. A lot of pollution issues that relate to the port. So I think that's a consideration prospectively. There needs to be discussion in terms of them updating us in terms of where they're at relative to trying to address those issues. Any other comments as relates to Port of LA? Hearing none, moving on to the PAIP. That is something that I thought I had. There's a $50,000 number on the table. Here it is. It's still in the planning stages. There has been no expenditures, and the purpose is in order to improve the primary Harbor Boulevard gateway entry to the San Pedro waterfront as part of the broader PAIP footprint. There has been no significant advancement as relates to design, and no construction schedule or completion date has been published.
Correct. We will have a meeting with Street Services next week to talk about how to move forward with the project. And as Axel mentioned, we'll be back to report out on what we find.
Any comments, Mr. Allen?
Have they, as the port, actually given the community an audit of their $10 million a year for the last several years?
CIP money?
Yeah. I've not seen it.
You could go to I'm at Harbor Commission meetings, and neighborhood councils have that time at the commission meeting to speak publicly. You know,
A neighborhood council representative there since I got off the Net Central board.
oh, the opportunity is there.
The opportunity, but does anybody care? And what I'm saying to this group is that there's $10 million plus every year dedicated to something, anything in this community. And are we reviewing what their priorities are? And do we have an audit, or are we just trusting the port?
Oh, never.
No one's fixing it.
So, you know, I spun out this from the prior chair, and it was limited to the gateway projects. I think you're saying this should be expended in $10 million overall program itself.
For the last 5 years, maybe. I mean, it's perfectly appropriate for us as a community, or this was as a committee, to ask for a audit of the funds and where they were spent. And if we don't get it from them, we should certainly ask for that audit from the city controller.
I think I'll be chairing the next meeting, so I will make that as part of my agenda.
Thank you.
This is a particularly important issue for all of us in the community, because the port, you know, has dedicated a certain percentage of their annual operating funds to these projects that we see developing throughout our community. But you know, the economy is such for the port; they're decreasing so much. You could see probably seen in the paper the recent articles about the movement of containers. So they're going to have more money to dedicate for the community projects that we want to have. So we need to stay on top of it, and it's very important what you said, James, too. But they need an audit to see what's going on. And actually, I'm kind of perplexed because I try to stay above board in these issues, and I really don't know what the recent projects are at all.
Yeah.
And I know fairly recently they codified it in the city charter or somewhere, where the councilman's offices, good offices, would deal, would listen to the reports to the community, the concerns, or the projects that we want to bring forward, and then they would meet and decide, but based on what?
But are they talking to the community and reporting back on what they've done?
Well,
Or are they just,
that.
Yeah,
or are they just putting the money aside for some future?
Which I know, I don't.
So Lee Williams, Commissioner, has his hand up. May I go ahead, Lee?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for this feedback. I do encourage folks to attend the Harbor Commission meetings and not just come and speak in public comment, but actually listen to the agenda items that cover these issues. Every time we have these presentations that actually go into detail into how the money is spent, people are gone. There's not enough public representatives at these meetings listening to the actual presentations. In fact, I was a member of the audit committee, and these items come up in the audit committee, and there has never, every single meeting I've ever been to in the audit committee never had a public representative. And so I really encourage folks to come speak, but also hear and hold the port accountable. The councilman has put together a proposal to have the port give timelines and represent exactly how the money is spent and how the PAIP programming is being progressed. And it would be helpful for me as a commissioner if I have public representatives that are well informed and can help me push those items across the goalpost, because I can't do it alone. I need the public to help as well.
I think that we're saying we're asking for actual requests from the joint to someone at the port for an accounting. I think that's different from public input. So you're suggesting we should.
So that's not different. That's the exact same thing, because at the port we have presentations that go over these exact issues. That isn't a special presentation just that goes to the neighborhood councils. It is a presentation that goes to the whole public. Everyone has access to this, and it would be helpful.
Are you suggesting that there's a difference between a direct request versus a public comment? I think those are distinguishable. So I think we're asking for a direct request to the board for an actual report.
I'm not sure you're hearing me. So the public comment is separate and distinct from the agenda items that cover the issues that you're requesting information on. We get agenda items that go over line item by line item the projects that you are most interested in. And it would be very helpful for me as a commissioner to have public be well informed, attend that portion of the Harbor Commission meeting, and then have input on those items at that time. Because when you see the presentations, especially the ones that you're asking for, they are already packaged up in the Harbor Commission meetings, and it would be helpful at that time for any questions, concerns, and issues to arise to help me as a Harbor Commissioner to be able to demonstrate that the community has feelings one way or another. It can't just be me and my own voice. I'm one of 5 votes. So I'm pleading the community to help me, help you, hold the port accountable, and to be good stewards of what we're doing as a port by listening to the presentations, calling out anything that seems a little squirrely, and helping me push the port in the right direction.
I have a question, Commissioner Williams. So I'm assuming there are minutes available for review, and as well as video?
There are, and many times I get requests from the neighborhood council saying, hey, we want a presentation on this, and it's already on record. And it's something that you can go onto YouTube and see a presentation on. And so I like it. It's fine when we have a port representative come to the neighborhood councils, but when we have the executive leadership in the room that can answer these questions directly about the issues that matter most to our community, that's a whole different ballgame. And so I really hope that people avail themselves of that opportunity.
Okay, so not everybody's available to go to the presentations to be able to ask the questions in live time. So you can watch the recording, but you don't have the ability to do that, to engage at the time. I wondering if you were talking about audits and financial reports. Is there a website from the port that has a list, the budget and the outline of everything they're spending? Is that available on the website?
Yes.
And Bruce, I think, sat through some of the budget hearings. I would say yes.
Okay.
During the budget process, there were packets that the staff prepared.
Absolutely.
For review.
But is this readily available at any time with updates available on the website? Okay, that's what I wanted
You
to
can
know.
you can go on the port's website and you can look at it in the archives now, and you can sit and watch it and replay it and screen capture it, and you see each department head presenting their budget and listening to and answering questions.
Right. I think you and I attend the meetings that has to do with the presidents and the chambers. My thoughts is to make that request at that particular meeting.
It's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Those meetings are great. I like the answers that the port gives when they're on camera and they're standing in front of the public.
Any other comment? Okay, moving on to the Denson Thomas Bridge redecking project closure.
I've got a piece of information that has been widely released. The ongoing question is why is it that they're doing all of this bridge closures, intermittently leading up to the big closure? And I thought that they were just having to do minor repairs and blah, 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 blah. What they're actually doing is that there's about 8 months worth of prep work that they have to do to outfit the bridge so that they get the machinery and the people up there. And so they have to close the bridge to install all of that stuff before they completely close the bridge and then put the deck down. And then there's going to be about 8 months of taking the stuff off. So it's not going to be a simple 18-month closure even after the deck is done. So
You suggest we have Caltrans and make a presentation?
No, I just think that it needs to be widely understood why it is that it seems to be so, clunky going into this thing, and then why we're gonna have the same thing going out at the end.
Can I?
Yeah, so.
Hi, I was at the postal meeting on Monday, and there was a representative from Nanette Bergen's office. His name was Sean Kearns, and he let us know that some streets, like the one that I'm on, are going to have air purifiers made available for free. So you can contact Bergen's office and find out. You should have gotten, if you're on one of the streets where traffic has been diverted. I have anywhere from 200 to 400 cars on my street on a given day. And so you can contact Bergen's office. I did not, but you should have gotten a postcard if you're one of the streets that's affected, and it gives you a specific code for your address if you're one of the houses that's going to be able to get one of those air purifiers. So if anyone thinks they might be in that area, contact Bergen's office, and they should be able to let you know. I did all the paperwork, and I'm scheduled to find up next week on Thursday.
Good information. Any other comments on the Vincent Thomas Bridge closure? Yes, sir.
I just have a question. I frequently travel. Because my daughter swims in South Shore for a competitive team. Will they be working 24 hours a day on this?
When they start?
when they start, because.
The bridge will be closed.
Yeah, I mean.
The bridge will be closed.
That's work again.
Yeah.
Will it be 24 hours a day work,
Yes.
or is it gonna be just like the 9 to 5? You know, it's typical, you know, usual Caltrans, you see them, you know, block up 3/4 of a mile for half a block of work, you know?
You have to talk to Caltrans. I imagine that
They
they,
do have a website, right?
I imagine that they have a performance contract with their contract.
Their meeting is, public meeting is the same time as this one. So
Yeah.
they're meeting right now. So, but they do. Mhm.
They kind of watch school, sounds like, yeah.
Yes.
One thing that Sean said at the coastal meeting was, looks like the target date, if, you know, life works the way they want it to finish the Vincent Thomas Bridge is right when the Olympics are starting. So they are getting a lot of pressure to make sure that happens before the Olympics. I thought I heard somewhere that once it's a full closure, that they will have 24-hour, but they're highly motivated to get that done as soon as possible. But, you know, I can tell you there was a huge Caltrans project because some road closures up in my mountain place, and Caltrans said it would take 3 months. They finished it in like 3 weeks. So quite often they will overestimate to cover their behinds. So, but let's hope that's the case.
Any other comments on the bridge? Going once, twice, moving on. Grocery outlet. I've asked Adele to carry this particular item since it's in Central and it's at Fifth and Gappy.
Yes, I think most of you by now know that the old shuttered Rite Aid is going to be a grocery outlet. And they did a presentation to Central Neighborhood Council requesting our endorsement of them receiving a liquor license for takeout. And we did finally last night pass our letter. And the chamber has also written a letter. I noticed on social media there was a posting about what do you think about this grocery store coming in? And it was all very, very positive. People like the option of having another discounted grocery store. And I do have the design of where they will be selling the alcohol. And they're going to sell full alcohol. But it's a very, very small portion of the entire store. It's a little over 18,000 square foot store. I don't know how that compares to like a Ralph's or a Vons, but it is well located in a corner, not anywhere near any of the entrances. And I think it was well planned. My only concern, which I did express to Steve Rollins, who is a consultant hired by Superior Groceries, that I think he goes around to all of the new stores and it appears they're expanding rapidly. And I did express my concern that they weren't planning to have any security. Now, I shop sometimes at Superior Markets, which is the closest market, the one on Fifth and Pacific, and they have full-time security. The operation hours for this store will be every single day, 7 days a week from 7 in the morning to 11. So I really want to impress upon them that I think that there should be full-time security. And that's really my only thing. The neighboring store, the Big Five, Elise and I discussed it. And we have in the past asked John Rich of the Rich company that owns the property. They still don't have anything that they're ready to present to us, correct, for the Big Five, because we're all excited what's going to go in at the Big Five. And that'll be a nice shopping center. And again, it will give shoppers, especially for Central Neighborhood Council area, some options. So that's all I have to say.
Any questions about the grocery store? Yes.
No comments. I regularly shop at a grocery outlet in another area. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
You do have to pay attention to the expiration dates because they're getting they're getting good closeouts. But I'm telling you, like family size cereal that costs $6 or $7 is like $2.50 or $3. So I have not seen the need for security. The alcohol, well, I don't drink, so, whatever, but the alcohol is in a very small section. I don't, this is another area. I don't see, I don't expect there to be necessarily a security guard at Albertsons or Ralph's.
Well,
but
it's the closest market. They are there all of the time.
that's fine. I'm just saying, I think in this economy, when people are really struggling for their food bills, this is going to be excellent. And I'm thrilled that they're going to be.
Yeah, it's another option, discounted groceries.
Don't you know, I'm supporting the dog pressing for security, because when you go to the bonds on 13th and Gaffey, typical Gaffey.
Gaffey.
That place is turned into like a fortress.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah.
Well, I thought you were proposing a build security.
I can share with everyone that's in the press, and looks like a pit bull, but you're not let that go.
No, I'm not going to let that go.
I knows about that area.
I want them to succeed. And I think if people are fearful, if they have one little incident, like I have had at the Vons, so I go to the other Vons. I want them to succeed. And I think we could use another grocery store. I think it's nice to have an option, especially for discounted groceries.
Yeah.
In a moment ago, I couldn't quite hear you reference the old Big Five site. What are they doing there?
Well, we don't know. The rich company who owns the whole shopping center has not discussed. I don't even know. Maybe nobody's interested in it yet. I don't know. But we're excited. We're going to find out. Yeah, I tried calling today and I didn't get any.
It looks like they're gutting the inside. They have a large container out there for trash and stuff.
Oh, well, that's
So,
That's good news.
Probably rehab and a drive-through Starbucks.
But I find out.
Yeah.
You've had too much caffeine.
Not enough.
Not enough.
Any other comments in the grocery store? Moving on to the next item, Prop 45. A big proposition, which is redefining the CEQA, responsibility footprint. There's a lot of pros and cons, and it applies to housing, transportation, water infrastructure, healthcare facilities, clean energy projects. And it would set deadlines for state and local agencies to complete environmental reviews, narrow the range of alternative agencies which must analyze CEQA projects, speed up permitting decisions, limit and accelerate lawsuits challenging projects approved by setting deadlines and restricting what courts may consider. Supporters argue that the new one will delay housing infrastructure projects for years. Again, this supporters, and they said faster approvals will help address California housing shortage. And the proponents, I'm just throwing out a couple, said will weaken environmental protections, reduce opportunities for public to influence projects, limit judicial review. Fiscal impact would be great on state and local governments, as raise the costs annually for the first several years to implement new procedures. So that's my basic comments of Prop 45. Okay, moving on to California Environmental Act. I've asked Mr. Norman to weigh in on this as well.
Yeah, thank you, Lamar. And it relates to the comments you just heard from our current chair. So good evening, everybody. And we could take a step back and just spend a few minutes talking about CEQA itself, why it matters to this committee for those who haven't thought a lot about it. I'm glad to see some people from environmental sustainability committees on here that are going to be somewhat on top of it, but not everybody in the public will be. It really affects almost every project we discuss in this committee. And I've thought a lot about the questions that we need to be asking routinely. I think, Mr. Allen's comments were really on track with that, regardless of how this all comes. So I wanted to organize the remarks tonight around 3 points. First, thinking of how everything intersects in this committee with CEQA and what we're talking about, whether it's support projects, waterfront redevelopment, housing, transportation improvements, or major public facilities like new cruise terminals. An environmental review is always a part of that decision-making process. Now, in this committee, our role, as neighborhood council members isn't to perform the environmental review ourselves, but I'm glad we have different people with expertise in different aspects, from noise pollution to traffic studies to air quality to water quality to concern about grass versus, artificial turf and preferences, to weigh in on what we want as a community. Our role is to understand where a project is in a process, and then to ensure the community knows this. And we've talked about this today too, auditing findings and making sure we're all on the same page. So we know when there's a meaningful opportunity for public input to exist, and for this group and for our ability to organize community input, which I've seen a lot of successes in projects just this year in public input affecting decisions made in San Pedro. So let me move on to some questions I think we need to routinely ask in this committee. Where is the project in the CEQA process? We should always be asking when presenters come and ask to talk, have them prepared, to make sure we understand if it is exempt for some reason. That is a possibility, but more likely, is there a mitigated negative declaration or an EAR report on file, and where and then the process of revising that? What is the schedule? Again, this has come up. What are the deadlines? When should we be anticipating? Will our remarks have any say? If things are going to happen tomorrow, there's probably not enough time to take a vote and have official input from our bodies. Dates for public comments. And then this relates to my earlier comments on Philip 66. What alternatives were considered, whether it's, housing, different ways of remediating, different types of grass versus artificial turf, to understand at least if they were considered. We don't always get our way. What mitigation measures are proposed, and then to understand when the City Planning Commission, and again, thanks for Mr. Allen for bringing that up, or other decision-making bodies, sometimes the Port, the Harbor Commissioner is taking action. So we should be running through this in these projects to make sure we're aware, and I'm even thinking of ways to maybe digitize this or try to have a more active sheet so members could kind of more easily see where we're at, even myself. Spending some time on this to just get a sense, because when we get 12 projects going, it's hard to know where we are. So this is why initiatives like Proposition 45 are really important. Any proposal that changes CEQA, the way we interact with that, has a great potential to change how projects move through the process. So hopefully this transition will be a good one, and it'll help us more clearly delineate responsibilities. And that's kind of hopefully, Lamar, that's kind of what you wanted me to go through. There's not a lot of decision, but I do think as we're kind of transitioning to a neighborhood councils, and hopefully I'll be reappointed to this committee for Northwest. But if that is the case, and if I get the opportunity to be co-chairing for Northwest, kind of the structure I'd like us to look at on these big projects related to CEQA, which is an area where I think we've seen in the past environmental concerns and having input have had some impact, though not always as much impact as we would like. And if that was, hopefully that was kind of clear and in line with what you wanted, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Thomas, question for you. I think something that might be helpful is, as you develop this, if we give a project form to developers that are coming in to present with the standardized list of questions that you just mentioned, and then that way they can fill the form out, and either we can circulate it in advance of the meeting or we can pass it out at the meeting, because that might make for a more efficient meeting if some of these standard questions are asked up front. I just throw that out.
I agree 100%. And I think once we use it and once we have minutes and other presenters see the past ones actually filled it out, hopefully I don't say that they dodge all the questions. That could, I always like to assume the best of intentions, but yes, I will make that available, Lisa.
I'll share the one that we use at the chamber with you to get for a project outline when they want to come and present. It's handy. And then you, like you said, you can attach it to the minutes.
Any question for Thomas or I as relates to CEQA?
Just not with this report, but on Prop 45, I think we, as a committee, all the councils too, have to take a very serious look at who's behind promoting these revisions in California's CEQA Act to fast track some of these developments. And I don't think it's, in my personal opinion, I like what I read or what I see. So I think it's very important that we take a grasp of this pretty soon.
I will include that in the overview. Oh, I'm sorry.
If I may, I would just echo Frank's comments, and as James Allen commented earlier about cumulative impacts, a lot of these reform proposals are essentially narrowing the focus on a particular project in a time frame. We need the Coastal Commission and the CEQA are designed for essentially eternity. We want a plan that will look out for cumulative impacts in the long run, not something that will solve a short-term problem, but potentially lead down the road permanent issues that are not addressed. Thank you.
Any other comments? CEQA?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I would just say that I see so many determinations coming through from the city, and I can't think of the last time I saw one that didn't have a categorical exemption to CEQA. It's like every single one. It's like rubber stamp granted, no matter how egregious the potential environmental impacts are, and it doesn't seem that they're ever taking cumulative impact into account.
Well, that's a little scary. Or to address that as well. Any other comments? Okay, moving on to updates. Northwest, any updates? Going once, twice?
Looking for hands, I see none.
I'm
Also-
deferring to the chair. Did you have anything, Kane?
Sorry, what was the question?
He's asking Kane if he has anything.
I just wanted to make sure because he's officially Kane's the chair. So
No.
did you want to speak?
None.
Okay. Also,
Yeah, I'll just quickly share a couple of motions that we just voted to support. One was to support continued city funding for Cabrillo Beach lifeguards. I don't know if you heard about the differences of opinion between city versus county on that one. Another motion was to urge an expedited application process for Sunken City CDP. We support the council file regarding city efforts to close operations at Rancho LPG. And we support an implementation plan for the PAIP for the port. And then lastly, we opposed council file requiring a majority of neighborhood council board members to obtain and maintain CERT program training. We thought that was way too much to ask of all of us. So anyway, if anyone's interested in bringing those motions to your own neighborhood council, you can find them on our agenda for the meeting on this past Monday. Thank you.
as Mr. Central, we're starting to track majority in the process in terms of projects coming in to Central. There's two that came to our attention, worked with Dell in regards to two projects that are in the beginning stages. And we're also going to be a little bit more involved relative to the courthouse in terms of making suggestions. It's my understanding that the supervisor has done a survey. And I think number one, again, off the top of my head, had to do, I don't really recall now. I do recall housing was part of the survey. I know it was a
Open space.
Open space was the first one. Second, I think was housing, and third was, I don't recall. Anyway, there's a survey that came out, the supervisor's house. We intend to try to get more feedback on it and everything. So that's what happened with Central. Moving on to CC, Chamber of Commerce.
We're dark in July, but I just, on a previous item, I do want to say, if you can only attend one or two Harbor Commission meetings a year, the budget presentation by the staff to the Board of Harbor Commissioners is one of the best meetings I've ever sat through. Incredibly informative. I highly recommend it.
Is it coming up, Elise?
No, they passed their budget, for July 1st, yes. But it's a great meeting to
Right.
Yeah, but it is on video and and all the reports are there. Yeah. Mhm. But it's a good one.
Updates on other items of interest from committee members? Okay, moving on, committee member comments on non-agenda items, anything? Okay. General public comments on non-agenda items?
Oh, James Campo. Oh, James, I see him.
Yep.
Do you have a comment? I saw your hand.
Yes, I do. Hi. I would just like to encourage anybody or all us people that live here in San Pedro that and all the visitors, of course, that come our front door to San Pedro and our front door out of San Pedro, both on Harbor Boulevard, soon to come, Front Street, the new development there, the new on-ramp and off-ramp there, and of course, Gaffey Street. I've had good luck with Brian Martinez in the Office of State Senator Laura Richardson. I have worked in the past with the council office, but they often defer to the state senators for getting Caltrans to keep at painting out the gang, tagging and graffiti on the medians, on all our walls, that everybody see the visitors that come to our front door. This is bad for business for San Pedro. This is bad for residents. It's bad for the image of San Pedro, and it has to be supervised. And the only people that do it are Caltrans. And if anybody, I'm sure here in this room has tried to fill out requests, it just takes forever for the Caltrans to get by. This is something different. People aren't driving 80 miles an hour down a freeway and looking at graffiti briefly as they're speeding or texting while they're driving or doing anything else. This is where people are stopped. They're stopped there for 3 to 5 minutes at a stop sign. So they see all this imaging of gang messaging. And so I think it's important if you can send photos to Brian Martinez, and he is very good about it. I met with him last week, and send him the pictures. Keep the fire on Caltrans to maintain all these new art walls that have been erected at Front Street entrance. These are just perfect, dying to be tagged places from the gangs. And they do it when you're waiting for the new signal. It's on the medians there. It's on the signs. Mona knows all about it. But if it's a constant effort to the state senator's office to keep on Caltrans, they need a supervisor. It needs to be addressed weekly. It needs, and the huge wall that's going to go from Gaffey to Harbor along the 47. That's just all. And of course, we discussed the homeless living in the bushes. So I would encourage you all to keep on Brian, to keep on Caltrans, to paint it out. Thank you.
Can I speak to that? Sure. So not just I live right there at Gaffey. So not just the freeway, but anywhere in San Pedro, you see graffiti, take a picture of it, and you send it to your senior lead officer, because then they forward it to their gang division, and they keep track of what gang members are doing what throughout the city and try to address. Sometimes they know who's done the tag by what it says. So for any graffiti you see in San Pedro, take a picture of it and send it to your senior lead officer. And also, except for if it's on the freeway, report it to 311. And they've been really good about coming out. And Mona has been very good about coming out to eradicate the graffiti. So I've had good results from 311 on that.
Thomas has his hand up.
Yeah, thank you.
And now Gwen, okay. Okay, Thomas.
Okay, thank you. This is actually, wasn't sure if I should do it in my spot or the public, but this is a note that was sent by Patricia, Director of Community Development from One San Pedro. So she wanted to present at a future meeting. It was a little late to get in this July meeting, but if you hadn't heard, One San Pedro's team is pursuing the Transformative Climate Communities TCC grant with HACLA serving as the applicant. The goal of this grant is to propose neighborhood investments through a range of strategies that support community revitalization and sustainability. They would appreciate the opportunity to present an overview of the proposed efforts and gather feedback from Central Neighborhood Council and San Pedro Joint Planning Committee. This group, engaging with the board members and community stakeholders they think will be critical in strengthening the proposal. So they'd like to request time on the agenda for a future meeting. You could Google transformative climate communities and look at the PDF they would have shared tonight. Seeing I don't see Patricia in the room, right? If I'm stealing her thunder, please take her away. I don't see her there. Don't see her online. So again, that's from Patricia, Director of Community Development from One San Pedro.
Okay, and now Gwen. Okay, Gwen?
Hi, I just wanted to make everyone aware that there's a program that comes from Karen Bass's office. It's Shine LA, and since launching in April, Shine LA has brought together more than 2,000 Angelinos for a day of service in more than 30 neighborhoods across LA. And there is going to be a Shine LA event here in San Pedro on August 22nd. And that will be up at the Department of Sanitation up on the hillside where the community garden, the San Pedro Community Garden is. It's going to be a festival over there and a day of participation, helping to clean the garden. And there will be food and other things. Anyone who wants to participate in that, do communicate with the mayor's office. Jocelyn, yes, Jocelyn. And I don't know if you already have that flyer, Elise, but I can send
There's
you
one
and forward
this
one.
Saturday. So when there's a 5K run and a Shine LA employment opportunity event this Saturday, and that one we pushed out today on our e-news.
Yeah,
as well.
It's every fourth Thursday, is that correct? And yes, there's another one coming up here in San Pedro on August 22nd, next month. So.
Adults?
It's for adults, it's for teens, for kids. There is service opportunities for teens. There is a QR code for the flyer, and I'll try to get that forwarded to Elise for people to
or Lamar can get it. Yeah, either one, we'll get it out.
Okay. Thank you.
We need a quorum to vote on adjournment.
No. Already? Are you ready for adjournment?
Can you imagine a forum
Move for adjournment?
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Of the two packages, was for the Rite Aid for the alcohol.
Good night, all.
That's why I have
Nice
this
job,
beautiful
Lamar.
diagram. It shows it right
Thanks,
there in the
Elise.
corner. Yeah, and then the other one is for a 65
all of our
square foot restaurant for